Hi everyone, I do have a few tips for IELTS test takers during the pandemic. Okay, as you all know that right now, any face-to-face communication would require you and the other person to wear a mask. Okay, so during the speaking test, it is very important for you to speak clearer and louder, as clear and as loud as much as possible, because that would definitely affect your score. So right now, if you're preparing for the test, okay, and when you're practicing speaking for IELTS, make sure that you learn how to speak up, okay, to speak loud enough for the other person who may be sitting 2 meters away from you to hear you clearly. And especially when you have a mask covering your mouth, okay, it is more difficult for the examiner to understand what you're saying, because that person would not be able to see your lips. Okay, so yeah, speak clearer and speak loud enough. Okay, and the second tip is when the examiner is wearing a mask as well. Okay, definitely the examiner will be wearing a mask. If you couldn't hear it clear enough because of the mask, and you will not be able to see his or her lips movement, I want you to tell them, okay, or I want you to ask them to speak louder, or to speak clearer, or to speak slower, a little bit slower, okay, if that is possible. There is nothing wrong, okay, in asking the examiner to speak clearer, because that is also part of communication. If you couldn't hear the other person clearly, how can you answer the question, right? So, yes, ask them to speak clearer, to speak slower if possible, and be yourself. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you might have to lie, and you might have to make up some experience and some stories in the past. Yes, but the best thing to do is to be yourself, be honest to the examiner, and be confident. Okay, right. And the last tip, okay, that I would like to give you is, do not let your anxiety and nervousness ruin you. Okay, do not let these two things, when you're too excited, when you are anxious, and when you're nervous, okay, do not let these things ruin the whole test, ruin the entire test. Okay, if you miss the first question, even the first few questions, it is fine. Move on. Do not think like, oh my God, what did I do? What did I just say? I just made a mistake. Do not think about that. Once you've made a mistake, or once you felt like you didn't give a good answer, or once you felt like you could have done better in the previous questions, do not think about that, but try to stay focused on the current question and try to do it as good as you could. Okay, so do not worry about the previous questions. Focus on the present, focus on the current question. Okay, and enjoy the test.